Welcome back to Movie House. I'm your host, David, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Connor.
Oh, marmalade sandwich.
What the fuck?
That's my Paddington voice.
That sounds nothing like Paddington.
Sure it does.
It sounds more like Winnie the Pooh, and that is not the bear that we're covering.
Oh, bother.
And just before you try any, we're not doing Yogi the bear either.
Who can Nook Basket? I don't know. I haven't seen Yogi Bear in a long time, and I hope he's alright. My favourite bear was always the bear in the big blue house, though.
Oh, man. I forgot about him. Yeah.
I used to do quite a good impersonation, but I keep it for my private time.
Mm.
I don't bust it out.
Why did I just envision you doing impressions of that laid over Pornhub images while you're beating it?
Don't besmirch the good name of the bear in the big blue house. I do that in private. I did not do that for a public audience. Okay, David, let's crack on.
Yes. Today we're going to be talking about the 2014 Paddington.
The hit film from director
film.
Paul King.
Ah, right, okay.
He also did Paddington 2 and Wonka.
Oh, fuck that guy. Seems like Paddington and Paddington 2 might be the best of his.
Wonka, more like wanker.
Yeah. Connor, is that fucking water dripping through my roof?
No.
Oh, fuck you then. Yeah.
I'm sending you on an expedition to deepest, darkest Peru. Let's see what you'll find there. Bears, perhaps? No! A recap!
Alright, Connor. I've been to deepest, darkest Peru. I have sweated my ass off through jungles and all sorts of other shite.
I know. I sent you on the expedition to recap.
And I brought you back this ancient Peruvian document. I'm not a linguist, Connor, but I know you are.
Oh.
So here you are.
Oh.
Read this to me, please.
Oh, I see what you're
Dish
doing.
it out.
I see what you're doing. Absolute scum. Alright, here it is. This is my recap of Paddington. Well, you see, Paddington is a little bear who lives in Peru.
Deepest Peru.
Deepest, darkest Peru.
Very good.
With his Aunt Lucy and his Uncle Pazuzu. There's a big storm and Uncle Pazuzu gets squashed by a tree. Aunt Lucy goes to the retirement hole for old bears to sit and die in, and she sends young Paddington off to London, which is the home of an adventurer who visited them at one point and taught them how to speak and gave them sandwiches and shit. And that's the story. The story is Paddington goes to London and he ends up moving in with the Brown family. And he's got a couple of teething issues with the Brown family and living in London. It's not quite what he expected, but he settles in and he makes friends everywhere he goes, and he just makes people's lives better with his presence. Until Nicole Kidman, star of Eyes Wide Shut and Moulin Rouge, decides that she's gonna kill Paddington. She wants to kill him and stuff him. A film for babies, so she does not murder Paddington. Taxidermy his body. The end. Recap over.
Well, Connor, that was a wonderful recap.
Thank you, David. I know. I said it.
Confident. I like it. So, Connor.
Yes, David?
What I really quite liked about this is my first viewing of Paddington.
It was. I've seen Paddington before, and I've seen Paddington 2 multiple times.
Oh, have you? I have seen neither.
I've seen this film this might be my third viewing of Paddington 1.
Right.
Paddington 2, I've seen that film so many times.
Very good. I have, like I said, I hadn't seen either. I've now seen Paddington 1. I will get round to watching Paddington 2 at some point.
Maybe for this podcast, if they do a Paddington 4.
Oh, that'd be nice. I quite enjoyed this film.
I'm surprised. I thought going into this that it was going to be our first instance in which you and I have had extremely different views on a film.
Ah, right.
We haven't fully lined up before, but it's never been to the degree where I love a film and you don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll come to that eventually,
We will do, I'm sure.
but this is not the one, apparently.
I did like this movie. I didn't really know what to expect going into it. I had heard good things about Paddington 2.
Yes.
And obviously Paddington did well enough to get a 2 and a 3.
Paddington in Peru, which is the film that we're riding the Algorithmic Express of right
yes,
now.
It is. Yes, it is.
I always forget now. The entire point of this podcast existing
Yes.
is to ride the Algorithmic Express for films that are is to ride the Algorithmic Express for films that are out now.
Yes.
Or coming out soon, or
exactly.
or went out a few weeks ago.
Yeah, if we're slightly delayed in this schedule.
Or a month and a half ago if you're Gladiator.
Oh. So, yeah, I didn't know what to expect going into Paddington. But what I would say is the animation, or CGI, absolutely immaculate.
Yeah.
They did so well with this.
I think that's... I was apprehensive when the film came out. I avoided seeing it for a few years.
Right.
I want to say it may have even been after hearing about Paddington 2.
That you went and watched 1.
I might have even seen 2 first. I can't quite remember. I saw them both around about the same time.
Right.
But I think I'd seen enough films where it was like a CGI animal or character gets saddled with like a human person or family.
Yeah.
Same reason I was apprehensive when Sonic the Hedgehog came out.
Yes,
and I like that film a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's got two sequels.
Yeah.
We didn't do Sonic for some reason when Sonic 3 came out.
Yeah, I think we chose Lord of the Rings, the animated, 1978.
And then we chose Wolfman over Nosferatu. Just fucking...
Just doubling down on the fucking mistakes. Aye. What you're saying?
I'd seen enough films like that.
Mhm.
Rocky and Bullwinkle with Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Looney Tunes Back in Action, Space Jam. And those are the better ones.
Yeah.
Hop with James Marsden. I'd seen enough of these films, 5 children in it, to where I was like, this is probably going to be 1, bad,
Yeah.
2, cringe,
Yeah.
and 3, a bad representation of what made the original source material special.
Yeah.
And I was wrong on all 3 accounts.
I would say that that's fair. So, like I said, the animation and everything with... No, animation. I keep calling it animation.
The CGI character.
The CGI character and the CGI effects in this film. So, like, the tree are like first class, top tier stuff. This is really, really impressive.
I'd forgotten how good they were.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was shocked when we were watching the film, especially the scenes where Paddington is wet.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's very, very,
a
very
technical marvel, if anything.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people were working on this behind the scenes in CGI. Yeah, because, like, people must have been, like, just the person for the bear's fur.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. He's the titular character. He's the focus of the film.
Yeah.
He needs to...
be well done. You're going to see him in every scene, almost.
Also, the fact that there's the blue coat, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a physical prop.
Yes.
And then they put it on the bear, and at some point, it must become CGI in that scene.
Yeah, yeah. And you cannot tell.
No.
Like, you would have to dissect the film.
Yeah, you'd have to go frame by frame
to actually tell that.
Or already have seen some behind the scenes materials.
Yeah.
Which I haven't done.
No. So, very, very impressive. And yeah, overall, I think it was it turned out to be a very, very good film.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there was a couple of points in the film that I wasn't so keen on.
Yeah, I noticed. I remember I told you to button your lips until we were sitting recording.
Yes, yeah.
Keep it for the pod.
Exactly. Now, I do not know, and maybe you can tell me, whether or not this film was actually, other than the shooting location, was this film actually made in the UK, or was this made in America?
No, this is made in the UK.
Right. Okay. Because it seems like it's an American's idea of London.
It's certainly an idealized version of London, but I don't think it's an American's view of London. I think it's a no, I wouldn't say cartoonish view of London, but it's sort of like a caricature of old-fashioned London.
I get where that part might be coming from.
Right.
It's because of the fact that, well, I mean, the source material is not exactly recent.
It's not as old as you would think, though.
It is not, but it is written about an idealized kind of London.
Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you this, David. This is going to surprise you.
Mm.
Michael Bond,
Yes.
who is the author of Paddington,
Yes.
the creator of the character, saw this film.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you?
It does not, no.
No.
I think he's quite an old man now. Though. Well, he might be dead now, but he was quite an old man, though, I believe. He was like late 70s or something?
91.
Was he 91? Bloody hell. Okay, so he was older than I actually thought. I knew he was an old guy.
I don't know if he saw Paddington 2. He passed away in 2017, which is the year in which Paddington 2 was released. So again, I don't know if he
got round to the premiere or whatever.
Yeah, presumably based on how his health was, probably saw some scenes in the works, some pre-production material.
Yeah, it was written, like the source material, from what I remember of Paddington as a child, it was a very idealised bit of kind of London. And almost an old-timey London, like Paddington was set some time before when I was reading it or watching it.
I think the original books were in the 50s, I want to say.
Right.
1958.
Oh, right, okay.
A Bear Called Paddington.
Right, okay. The bit that the idealised, I guess, London that I wouldn't say griping about, but more like it just pulled me out of the film a little bit.
Right.
And that is the modern London that is being shown. A good portion of those scenes seem like they were kind of going, the world's going to see this, we better touristify it.
I think my issue with it isn't that it does that, or that it kind of does that, and it kind of also does the opposite. When he first arrives in London and everyone's bustling past him and no one will look him in the eyes, and the Brown family connect with him because they're special. Mrs. Brown and Paddington connect on that level. But then after that, once Paddington gets situated in London, it's like London changes. And now we're seeing an idealised version of London. And look, I get London's a fucking hell. It's hell. It's a shithole. And you can't really put that in a kid's film, and also you can't really put Paddington anywhere else. So you gotta do something. You can't have Paddington getting stabbed by some mandem. Getting his fucking head jumped on for his marmalade sandwich, getting fucking mugged.
True.
You can't have that. So you can't put him in modern day London, right?
No.
It's just not feasible.
True.
Getting his little teddy bear head kicked in on a TikTok. Right? Yeah. London's hell, and you can't put Paddington in hell.
Not for a kids' movie, I suppose, no.
No. But then what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you act like that aspect of London doesn't exist? Do you take him out of London? Do you act like London is this idealised version? Because the entire thing is that he arrives in London at the start of the film, and it's not what he expects that he's heard from Aunt Lucy and Uncle Pazuzu. It's like a weird kind of a dropped ball.
Yeah.
Of, maybe I don't want to say continuity, but it feels like a plot thread that just doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because the film switches focus.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there.
I also think that London feels a bit empty.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scenes where it's like, there's Paddington's there.
And no one.
Or there's like two other characters.
There's
like Paddington speaking to a British character actor from Horrible Histories.
Yeah.
And there's an extra or two in the background, and that's it. It feels very desolate and empty.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that Paddington 2 improves upon.
Right, does it?
there's there's so many side characters in Paddington 2.
Right.
It's a who's who of British actors.
I'm glad that is improved upon. Obviously, they've taken a bit of feedback on the film, presumably.
Presumably, aye.
There's one scene I was thinking in particular that Paddington arrives, and I get the purpose of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the, I'm in London, and then busy. There's no one. And it's like, I'm so pretty, and I'm so, like, this is great. And then I'm getting jostled around by the crowds. London is never empty.
Yeah. It's like if you edited Paddington into the opening scene of 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy's walking around going like, hello!
Yeah.
And the streets are empty.
That is, it would have to be an apocalypse.
Yeah.
London is never empty.
Some would say London is an apocalypse.
Some
would say it's an apocalypse every day. Apocalypse now, if you will. David.
Yes.
What's this underneath my red hat?
I don't know. I just clocked you were wearing one.
You just clocked that I'm dressed like Paddington Bear?
Yes.
Red hat, blue duffel coat, and nothing else.
That's what I've been staring at.
Why, David?
Your coat, obviously.
Yes. It's my Paddington trivia sandwich. What do I do for trivia? Usually I try and incorporate trivia into the title of the film.
Triviaton.
Padding trivia. Because I'm padding out this episode, baby. It's time for trivia. With my trivia marmalade sandwich from underneath my Paddington hat.
Here's some sticky trivia.
Let's continue talking about Michael Bond.
Okay, yes.
Original creator of Paddington.
Mm-hmm.
He said many times that he was very nervous about a live-action adaptation of Paddington.
Okay, yeah.
However, he was convinced to go ahead with this film after seeing half a minute of test footage of the bear.
Oh, wow. They did pull out all the stops with the bear, to be fair.
His daughter, Karen Jenkel, also said about the film that she was moved to tears after the first screening.
All right, nice.
Quote, "For me, it was bringing life to the bear that was so real to me, and I think they got it absolutely right."
I would imagine she obviously grew up around Paddington and all the stories and everything, because there was a lot of Paddington books.
Oh, yeah.
I remember having about 24, and I definitely didn't have the collection.
I never had that many. I had a few random bits here and there, but I did have a Paddington stuffed toy.
I think there was one in every British household for one point in time.
I'm sure nobody. Oh, no, never mind. Ignore what I'm saying. I was going to say, I'm sure nobody knows who he is now. Fucking trilogy of popular films that we're talking about right now. What am I doing?
What are you talking about, mate?
Kids these days don't know Paddington because of the woke. The woke mob won't let you make a marmalade sandwich. Speaking of which, in the UK, the popularity of the film enhanced the sale of marmalade and oranges, and saw the rise of downloads in marmalade sandwiches or marmalade recipes.
Downloading marmalade sandwiches.
Somebody take this bear out and put him to pasture. What am I talking about?
I don't know.
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole? She was particularly chilly.
Well, she's an Australian, so she must have been Nicole when she was filming in London.
Oh, God. Someone needs to put that bear out.
Her childhood wish was to have Paddington Bear live in her house. And she said that getting to participate in this film is the closest she will ever come to realising that dream. She also learned to throw and twirl knives for this film.
All right.
And the producers had to tell her to tone down her knife-throwing tricks as they were considered too intense. David, you might notice that there were no knife-throwing scenes in the film. That's because they were all cut out. Kidman's agent also originally considered passing on the role before even speaking to Nicole Kidman about it.
Ooh.
They casually mentioned the offer in passing, thinking Kidman would immediately turn it down. However, she was met with an enthusiastic reaction. That's good. That's nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
Do you know who plays the villain in Paddington 2?
I do not.
Do you want me to tell you?
Sure.
Hugh Grant.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I saw a clip of Paddington 2 where he was in it. I didn't know he was the villain, though.
I don't think I'm spoiling anything for you. I think it's pretty evident from his first scene.
I'm probably...
Paddington the character is actually based off a lone teddy bear that author Michael Bond saw on a shelf in a London shop at Paddington Station on Christmas Eve 1956.
Oh, okay.
He bought it for his wife and was inspired to write a story.
Mm-hmm.
The outline of this lonely bear at Paddington Station was inspired by old newsreels showing train loads of child evacuees leaving London during World War II with labels around their necks and their possessions in small suitcases.
Yeah.
And most of the conversations between Mr. and Mrs. Brown, played by Sally Hawkins and Hugh Bonneville, were improvised.
Ah, okay.
Well, we need to get into Hugh Bonneville a bit later on.
All right.
I don't know if you're familiar with that at all.
No, not really.
Right, okay. Well, a wee conversation about Hugh Bonneville.
That's not sounding great.
Speaking of which, Hugh Bonneville has said he considers the Paddington character to be part of the DNA of the UK and was nervous about joining the project.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, I was very nervous when I first picked it up because I thought I don't want my childhood being messed with.
Right.
He's a vivid character for so many people, certainly in Britain, so I was very nervous when I started reading, but within a page I was laughing out loud and was reminded of all the charming innocence and the warmth that Michael Bond put on the page.
Right.
Very nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
We'll talk more about him later on.
David's cancelled corner, apparently.
Yep. Not far off.
Shit. I hate finding out people that... I quite like this guy. He's in Love Actually with Hugh Grant, isn't he?
Who?
David Bonneville.
The fuck is David Bonneville?
Oh, fucking whatever his name is again.
Hugh Bonneville? No, he's in Downton Abbey. He's that guy from Downton Abbey.
Not Love... No, Notting Hill. That's it. Notting Hill is what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
With Hugh Grant.
Writer and director Paul King, during pre-production, would attend screenings of children's movies to try and figure out what made the children in the audience laugh.
Yeah.
He brought his wife to all these screenings so he didn't seem like a creepy loner.
You would, because that would be weird.
You would if you had a wife. I used to go to children's films in cinema all the time when I had a cinema pass.
Yeah, but you were watching the movie, not the children.
Oh, I still seemed like a creepy loner.
Yeah.
I went in a long trench coat. Did you notice, David, that even though this film features his iconic blue duffel coat and red Peruvian hat, it does not feature his red Wellington boots?
Yes.
Do you know why that is?
I did not, no.
It's because these are not in the original design. They're not in the books, or the original books anyway.
Right, okay.
They were added by toy factories so that Paddington toys could stand up.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I like the way that these kind of things evolve and things like that, because of just little things like practical reasons why, let's face it, Paddington is iconic in his little red boots.
Aye.
And it wasn't even part of the original character, was added because toy manufacturers were like, yeah, well, the bear doesn't stand up without the fucking shoes on.
Oh, so that again without swearing, young man.
Yeah, well, the toy manufacturers were like, well, yeah, the bear doesn't stand up without his shoes on, so
so you
put something on his feet.
Thing is, I'm pretty sure I've seen Paddington toys where the boots are like...
why are you feeling testicles? What's going on?
The boots are like part of his knitted feet.
Yes.
They're fabric, so it doesn't stand.
Doesn't make a difference.
They're not plastic.
Yeah. But then by that point, he would have iconically been in red boots.
I know.
So, yeah.
The Paddington toy that I had did have the boots.
Mine was a little statue of Paddington. It was a little porcelain Paddington.
Oh,
And it
mine
did have
wasn't.
boots.
Mine was a soft toy. It's a classic teddy bear.
My sister had a classic teddy bear, and similarly, they were red wellies, except it must have been either higher quality or older, because it was red wellies that the teddy bear wore, like actual
that's what
red
that's what mine were.
Wellingtons. No, not like the fabric.
No, yeah, mine weren't.
All right,
fabric
okay.
either.
I was going to
That's
say.
what I'm saying. I mean, I've seen it since.
Right. Okay.
On toy shelves.
Yes.
Son of a bitch.
Maybe not swear.
Son of a rat. Try not to swear in this episode. Writer Michael Bond, we're going back to the book stuff again.
Yeah.
Originally intended for Paddington to be from darkest Africa.
Okay.
When informed by his editor that there have been no bears living in Africa since the days of the Roman Empire, he researched and found that bears are living in Peru, and thus changed Paddington's point of origin to darkest Peru.
I like that.
Yeah.
A little bit of
darkest
information.
Africa, and they're like, no.
Nah, no bears have been there for a long time, pal. Well.
Peru.
I just figured it was one of the places being kind of explored currently in history. Because it would have been, when he was writing it would have been around the times that the likes of David Attenborough and stuff were going
I'm thinking of a different period in time, never mind me.
All right.
I think that's around about the time that Michael Caine's hit film Zulu came out.
Yeah.
It's a shame Michael Caine's retired. He'd have been a great Paddington villain.
Oh, he would have been. Yeah.
Do you want to hazard a guess, David,
as
to who was the original voice of Paddington in this film before being replaced?
Ooh.
The actor in the film, by the way, is Ben Whishaw, who you might know as Q from Skyfall. And
right.
That's that guy, yeah.
I can see that now. I would not have been able to guess that guy. Martin Freeman?
Oh, no, God, no. I hate Martin Freeman.
Okay.
What a talentless hack. No, it was Colin Firth.
Oh, was it?
And I can picture that.
Yeah.
I can see Colin Firth's voice, but
yeah.
According to Paul King, he was replaced. It slowly just became clear that Paddington does not have the voice of a very handsome older man who has the most beautiful voice on the planet. Firth had visited the set and worked with his live-action co-stars long before he began recording his lines to help his co-stars and improve on his voice performance. Oh.
That's a shame.
Poor Colin Firth, man.
Yeah. I like Colin Firth.
So do I. They should have made him Uncle Pazuzu.
Yeah.
Instead of was it Michael Gambon?
Yes.
Your least favourite actor. The actor that you can't stand, Michael Gambon.
There's very few roles I've ever seen him in that I particularly like him.
He's good in The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Yeah. I'm not instantly pissed off when I see him.
Wow. You feel about Michael Gambon the way that I feel about Martin Freeman.
Right.
I hate that guy.
Oh, I wouldn't stab him if I saw him, but I wouldn't not.
Oh, Michael Gambon?
Yeah.
You'd be stabbing a coffin.
Corpse or no?
Aunt Lucy resides at the Home for Retired Bears in darkest Peru.
Yes.
In reality, there is a Peruvian National Forest and Fauna Service which takes care of misled and lost bears.
That's cool. I like that.
Shortly after the release of this film, an abandoned and wet 3-month-old Peruvian bear cub was rescued in the middle of a highway and taken to the centre for safety and recovery.
Oh.
Real life Paddington.
Yeah.
And then they shipped him off to London, David. They dropped him off.
Dropped him off at Paddington Station and went, here you go.
He's growing now. He's a big bear and they let him loose in the station. That's not a reference to Paddington. It's a reference to the American Werewolf in London. It's ripping people apart in the streets of London.
Aye. That's the 18 plus Paddington. horror film.
I'm sure they'll make that soon enough. Once Paddington falls into the public domain. 25 years after the death of the author, which was 2017, so we will yet.
Yeah.
Oh, Sally Hawkins, who plays Mrs. Brown,
Mm-hmm.
suffered a concussion during the shooting of the film. She had run into a crane during a night shoot on her way to the set.
Ooh, ouch.
She received a massive cut on her head when she's covered by her hat when they were filming. After she's a doctor,
right.
obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a
no,
minute.
just slap their blood trickling down her face.
That's wrong. Even though she was injured, she continued working on the scene and didn't see a doctor until the scene was wrapped. What are you
Fucking
doing?
hell.
What are you doing, hen? You're not working on The Shape of Water now.
Jesus.
This is actually, this was first.
Oh, right, was it?
The Shape of Water was 2017.
Ah.
The same year as Paddington 2.
Mm.
Sally Hawkins' character
Mm-hmm.
is an illustrator for children's books.
Yes.
In real life, both of Hawkins' parents are authors and illustrators of children's books.
Ah, right. Nice.
Did you notice that Emma Thompson is thanked in the film's end credits?
I clocked that, but I didn't clock where she was.
Well, she's not in the film, but she did an uncredited polish of the script.
Ah, right.
Aye.
Very cool. That's another actress I would have loved to have seen somewhere in this.
I don't
Emma
think she's in
Thompson.
any of them, but I think she will be perfect.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, let's face it, you can't do much more British than Emma Thompson.
You do a crossover. Paddington meets Nanny McPhee. Oh, you know who would have been... Oh, fuck, this is very sad. You know who would have been the perfect villain for a Paddington movie?
What?
Alan Rickman.
Oh.
Still alive when this first film came out, but it's obviously passed by the time the second one was out.
He'd have made a...
Maybe...
Don't get me wrong, Nicole Kidman made a good...
Oh, I'm talking like if he was alive for Paddington 3.
Right, because I was going to say, but Nicole Kidman did a good job.
Yeah.
And I didn't, like I said, I liked the film. But, yeah.
Too intimidating for a little baby movie, maybe. I'm sure he could reel it in.
I think he would have loved it.
He would have, I mean, he would have loved it, it'd have been amazing, but I think maybe you can't do full on Alan Rickman, you gotta reel it back a little
Yeah,
bit.
you would have to
Robin
it back.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves level of villainy. You can't go full Die Hard.
No. You couldn't even do full Snape, I don't even think.
No.
Scare the crap out of some of the kids.
Oh, man.
Maybe that's why they didn't choose him, is because he was so well known as Professor Snape.
Maybe.
And it'd be just difficult to get the Professor Snape out of your head when you hear his voice.
No, because I think he's iconic beyond that.
No, I mean, for adults, definitely. But I mean, what kids are going to see Alan Rickman in anything other than...
He looks different.
True.
In Harry Potter, he's got the hair. That
he's got the dyed hairpiece.
Wig, I think.
Wig.
Nicole Kidman took a taxidermy class to prepare for her role in the film.
Oh, okay.
What a dedicated actor.
I think she was just very passionate about this film.
Usual doesn't give a shit.
No, I'm just meaning more along the lines of, I think she really was quite passionate about this film.
I don't think she's in the second one at all. I was surprised, by the way, that she didn't die at the end. I thought for sure when Julie Walters smacks over that door, I was like, she's gone.
That's her dead.
We're not going to show the body, obviously, because it's Paddington, but it's just never mention her again. It's like,
she wasn't good.
Slipped.
Done.
Oh, here's a wee bit that you'll like.
Mm.
It was challenging to make Paddington smile for the visual effects crew.
Mm-hmm.
Adding a human smile to the natural form of the muzzle mouth was challenging, obviously, because of the photorealistic look of the bear.
Yeah.
Instead, they focused on adding sweetness to his natural gaze and a happy expression to his eyes.
Mm. They did well.
Yeah, aye.
They did well. Because at no point did Paddington look like odd or out of place or anything like that. They did really well.
Aye.
Elle even did well with that, the long stare.
The hard stare?
Yeah.
Aunt Lucy's hard stare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did well with that too. I think also a lot of it was like the camera kind of, the slow zoom and everything, which is always a bit of an ominous thing when you've got someone directly kind of staring down the lens.
Yeah, very Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
Although Paddington Railway Station was used for the interior shots, the exterior establishing shot of Paddington Station is actually Marylebone.
Yes.
Because Paddington Station was seen as, quote, not aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Shithole.
Yep.
An ugly city, London.
It has some nice, pretty places, but for a lot of it is not that pretty at all.
No.
Don't get me wrong, it's great for shopping and experiencing cuisine. It's fucking brilliant for that.
I've never been. According to Nicole Kidman...
Yeah, you're shitting on London and you've never been?
I've heard enough stories from people who live there that I don't need to.
Right.
According to Nicole Kidman, her children were very excited about the project at first, as they believed she was going to be playing, quote, the bear's mommy. However, when they discovered she was the villain to the bear, they were left horrified.
Probably because they tell all their friends that my mummy's the bear's mummy, Paddington's mum. And then they go and see it.
Fucking hell. Oh, I almost said that Cilla Black, who plays Paddington's mum. What's going on with me today? What am I doing?
I'd fucking loved it. I'd love to have seen Cilla Black in that.
Surprise, surprise. It's
she'd have made a pretty creepy villain as well, actually. Just fucking surprising her way around.
She was a creepy villain in real life, from what I've heard. Horrible person, apparently. Imelda Staunton, another Harry Potter actor.
Yes.
There you go. Look at that. Well, Michael Bond has a cameo in the film. Kindly Gentleman.
All right.
Oh! You remember when Paddington's first riding home with him and he waves to the guy in the restaurant?
Yeah.
That's Michael Bond.
All right.
Oh.
That's really nice.
Oh, man.
The guy that was sitting sort of dining alone with a wee coffee and stuff.
And he toasts it to Paddington.
Yeah, yeah.
That's lovely.
That is really sweet.
Oh, what a time. Paddington's species of bear in the film is identified as Ursula marmaladus, or marmalade bear.
Yeah.
Which is obviously fictional.
Yeah.
Imelda Staunton and Michael Gambon were added to the cast 10 months after filming had wrapped.
Oh, fucking hell.
6 weeks before the film's premiere.
Jeez, oh.
I mean, I guess they're not in it much.
No, they're not. But, geez.
So you could have made Colin Farrell. It's Colin Firth.
Colin Firth. You could have made Colin Firth.
You could have made Colin Farrell. You could have made Colin... You could have... You could have made Colin Farrell Paddington Bear. Instead of Colin Firth. I'd hate to see that. I fucking tell you what, I'm away to the...
You testing my gangster?
This is brand new. You testing my gangster?
It's as close as you've ever gotten.
I wasn't trying to do it.
I know.
Colin Farrell. He's a good actor.
He is. Maybe not someone I would ever picture as Paddington.
Here's a sad bit for you.
Okay.
The red carpet premiere of the film in China was not attended by any cast of the film, obviously.
Yeah.
However, Prince William of Wales did appear.
All right.
Should have gave him the old Tiananmen Square treatment. Ran him down with a tank.
Yeah.
To promote this movie and the associated book series, Nicole Kidman hosted a storytime event at our local Barnes & Noble in which she read from Michael Bond's classic short stories.
That's really nice. Again, I think she's really
just
just like really passionate about Paddington. So I think a lot of people maybe embellish the amount that they liked something as a child because they're in it. It's marketing. But I get no impression about this from Nicole Kidman on this film. I think she loved Paddington as a kid.
Yeah, aye.
Because she's going real hard for this movie.
Speaking of, Nicole Kidman has also said that she would have played any part in the film. because she was so excited to be part of the project.
Mm.
And going to the screening in which both her mother and daughter were present was one of her career highlights. Dear God, woman. You start a fan club or something. What are you doing?
I quite like that, though. I like that.
I think it's getting to the point where I'm like, every second bit of trivia, I'm like, Nicole Kidman said she'd kill her husband, Keith Moon, for a... Keith Moon? Wait a minute. Who's her husband? Carl Urban?
Carl Urban, I think.
No.
Was he not at some point?
Keith Urban.
That's it. Keith Urban.
Keith Moon.
Keith Moon, Carl Urban.
Who's Keith Moon? Is he one of the Monkees? Keith Moon was the drummer for The Who. He passed away in 1978.
So he wasn't in this film?
No, I didn't say he was in this film. I said he was married to Nicole Kidman.
I don't know. Currently.
Nicole Kidman said she would murder her husband, Keith Richards. Keith Urban, in order to be in this film, Paddington, as an extra. Julie Walters was familiar with Paddington Bear, but had never read any of the books or seen the TV series.
She's apparently from what I could tell, she's not really much of a movie watcher. She doesn't really watch anything.
We're talking about the film, the books though.
No, I am aware.
She asked her friends who'd read the books as children to share their memories for preparation, including her husband. She said, quote, I grilled my husband about Mrs. Bird, and he said, well, she was very stern, but you knew she was loving. I remember thinking, that's a difficult one. Oh, okay, another sad one for you.
Oh, God.
When Colin Firth was cast to provide Paddington's voice, he would record his dialogue with a special helmet with a GoPro on it to record his facial animation, his facial expressions, so that the animators could use this for reference. From what I'm reading here, it doesn't sound like that was something that the studio asked him to do. He did it apropos of his own excitement for voicing Paddington. When Ben Whishaw was cast, he re-recorded his voice, and as a result, every single scene of the facial animation had to be redone.
You know what makes it worse? Colin Firth is like a lovable puppy of a man.
Yeah,
he's like the Labradors of humans.
If this was Hugh Grant, I'd be like, I'll kick him in the ribs while he's down. Who cares? If this was Colin Farrell, I'd be like, you're putting him back on the drink. Christ.
Jesus.
Oh man, who do you think owns the first ever produced Paddington Bear toy?
Michael Boyd? I don't know.
What? Michael Boyd? Who's Michael Boyd?
I don't remember.
Michael Bond is the author.
That's it, Bond, thank you.
It's Jeremy Clarkson.
Fucking course he does.
It was created by his mother, Shirley Clarkson's company.
Okay, well, there's at least a good reason. Kinda. No fucking wonder Jeremy Clarkson ended up famous.
Oh, he was rich.
Yeah.
Rich from birth, mate.
I don't know. I think you might be in the same boat here. I do not like Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah, no, I don't like him either. In order to create some early attention for the film, Studio Canal placed a Paddington teddy bear in the 2014 hit film Non-Stop, starring Liam Neeson, in which he tries to stop a runaway train. Hugh Bonneville also brought a Paddington bear to the world premiere of The Monuments Men, where he got George Clooney, Matt Damon and Bill Murray to pose with it. I remember that.
I remember that more than I remember Non-Stop's existence.
I know the poster for Non-Stop.
I think everyone knows the poster for Non-Stop.
It's on every streaming service.
It's on every street corner, still peeling off the wall.
The character of Millicent was written with Nicole Kidman in mind. Sure she'll love that.
Yep.
Darkest Peru... Oh, Jesus Christ. Darkest Peru was actually shot in Costa Rica.
Oh.
I'm absolutely gobsmacked that was not a set.
Yeah. Same here.
The first shooting days of the movie were there. Some British crew flew out, but a lot of locals were hired. I always like to hear that.
Yeah, same here. Obviously, some of the British crew, like the director and everything, obviously.
Yeah, first AD.
But yeah. But Yeah. I like the fact that there's a lot of locals hired for the local shots and scenes and things.
Aye.
Yeah, I'm so dumbstruck that I wasn't a set and just CGI.
Especially considering it's the CGI bears. It's the one area of the film where there's no real live action actors.
There's one guy.
And that's in the old black and white footage.
Yeah, which wouldn't be that difficult to comp in.
My God.
But it's good. I like the fact that they did that though.
Aye.
Nice.
Alright, I'm going to call it there.
Yeah.
That's enough trivia for one episode.
We have an hour of it.
Like quite a bit. Oh.
There's some really good trivia there.
Oh, thank you, David. It was a lot of trivia.
It was, yeah.
I feel like I just had to keep going for this film. You know?
Yeah.
I had to do it for Paddington.
Yeah. Michael Bond as well.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lovely bit of trivia about him.
A lovely wee cameo.
Yeah.
Every single bit of trivia about Michael Bond and Nicole Kidman was just lovely.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you the Hugh Bonneville thing? Do you want me to ruin your mood, David?
Yeah, go for it. Ruin it.
Okay, so married actor Hugh Bonneville was caught in a bit of a scandal a couple of years ago when he paid Helen Wood, former Big Brother star and current prostitute, £195 to have sex with him.
Right.
Aye. Weirdly, that was apparently in 2010, so 4 years before Paddington.
Oh, right.
Oh, sorry, it happened in 2010, but it wasn't made public until 2016.
Ah. Yeesh.
Yikes, aye, he has since separated from his wife, obviously.
Aye.
And the prostitute is quoted as saying he was a sloppy kisser with a tiny wet mouth.
Okay.
That's the Hugh Bonneville thing. It's not a massive thing. He's not like a murderer or
anything else,
a child pest or anything like that. But let me tell you, whenever I look at him, I think £195 to a former Big Brother star turned prostitute. And I think nothing else.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Hard to think of anything else now, actually.
Yeah, it kind of ruins everything about him.
Yeah.
No, he's not like an actor that I was incredibly fond of before. I'm not like a huge Hugh Bonneville fan.
No. But I did quite like him as an actor. I liked most of the things that he'd been in.
It's alright.
Yeah, he's just one of those actors that's kind of around, but you don't dislike him.
He's not Martin Freeman. I don't dislike him, but I'm also not like a massive fan.
I thought he portrayed the role in Mr. Brown in Paddington really quite well.
Well, he is in Paddington 2 and 3.
Ooh,
he's still in these films.
Stuck with him.
Yeah, they were like, you know what?
You're here.
Prostitute or no prostitute, man. You're here. You're Mr.
No
Brown.
prosies on set.
That's my number one takeaway from Paddington. Paddington Bear. No prosies on set.
Try as we might, we cannot have a child-friendly episode of from Movie House.
No, or anything. Oh, it's worth noting that apparently the prostitute was not a Big Brother star at the time. Since going public with this, and also apparently she slept with Wayne Rooney, famous footballer.
I know of the story that you're talking about now.
Yeah. After that, she went on Celebrity Big Brother. Here's my question: if your clientele is Hugh Bonneville, star of Paddington, and Mickey Rooney, footballer, why are you only getting £200 per shag?
Also, how does that make you a celebrity?
You were in the newspaper talking about it.
Yeah, I know Big Brother was really dredging the barrel, but Christ almighty, surely there's not another C-list actor somewhere that would not be willing to go on that show over a former prostitute.
Aye.
that just happened to sleep with a couple of kind of celebrities.
Aye, Bonneville's a celebrity.
Aye, but come on. If she'd screwed David Beckham or something, then maybe. At least he's an actual celebrity. Julie Walters.
Yes. Aye.
Now, you and I, as Scottish people.
Aye. I was a wee bit rubbed up by this the first time I heard it.
Yeah. Julie Walters is an English woman from Birmingham, I believe.
I'll double check that. I'll fact check you.
Time for it. Let's find out if I'm getting a wrong inserted in here.
David.
Yes.
You're correct.
Holy shit in hell. Yes. And I remembered that from when I was watching some behind the scenes stuff of Dinner Ladies.
Oh, famous British actress Julie Walters starred in the Harry Potter films as Mrs. Weasley.
Mm-hmm.
Educating Rita, Mamma Mia, Billy Elliot. One of our best, you could say.
Oh, Billy Elliot.
What were you saying about Julie Walters, David?
So, yeah, you and I, Scottish individuals.
She was in the Harry Hill movie. She played Harry Hill's mum. That was
so important that it required an interruption of...
Yeah, right, it was.
Everything. Stop the podcast. She was Harry Hill's mum in the Harry Hill movie.
Stop the press!
No one gives a fuck about Harry Hill. I don't know about you,
what?
but
I'm a big Harry Hill fan.
I am not.
What?
I am not a Harry Hill fan.
What? Speaking of Scottish, she was in the film Brave, Disney's Brave.
She was, yes. She's seems to be one of the few English actresses that can, for the most part, pull off at least a pretty decent Scottish accent.
Who, if not Julie Walters, if they went with an actual Scottish actress, who could have played this role? Besides one of the Crankies. Besides Robin Williams reprising his role as Mrs. Doubtfire. Shirley Henderson. She was in Trainspotting. She's Spud's girlfriend. She's Moaning Myrtle, yeah. Another Harry Potter actor, but aye.
Yeah. I think she could have. You know what? Maggie Smith. She's Scottish.
And she was.
Actually, she's very British sounding. She's Scottish, isn't she?
Maggie Smith passed away.
When?
The end of last year. Did you not know?
Fuck, I forgot about that.
Yeah. She was born in Ilford, East London.
Oh.
What about Tilda Swinton?
Oh, aye.
I always forget she's a Scottish actress.
Same here. Again, the problem with a lot of...
one of our best.
the problem with a lot of our...
She is one of our best.
She really is. I don't know.
Just the way that I looked at you and went, one of our best.
I think so.
What about Kelly MacDonald? Another Trainspotting actor.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Yeah, the problem with a lot of our Scottish actresses that have made it really big is a good portion of them have been like Shakespearean actors.
So they lose their Scottish accent.
Yeah, so you can't actually tell if they're British or Scottish. You have no idea where they're from.
I'm getting fucking befuddled here.
All right.
I saw a list, an IMDb list called Scottish Beautiful, Famous and Sexy Actresses. And I'm like, alright, let's look at this. Number 2, Daryl Hannah. And I was like, that's crazy because I didn't know Daryl Hannah was Scottish. Born in Chicago, Illinois.
Of course. Yeah.
Daryl Hannah is an American actress.
Yeah.
So I was like, alright, who else is on this list? Naomi Scott. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Scott by name, but not Scott by nature.
Yeah.
Born in Hounslow.
Yeah, that is not in Scotland.
No, fuck knows where that is.
A name like that is definitely not Scottish.
What are we doing? What are we talking about?
I don't know. I think we were going down the route of Julie Walters.
We were pardoning Julie Walters. That's what we were doing.
For using a Scottish accent without being Scottish.
Aye.
Now, yeah, I think you'd said there 40 minutes ago when we started this conversation. I think you'd said there that it kind of rubbed you the wrong way when you first heard it.
Yeah, I think at first I was like, I think also because it's just such a common thing to have Scottish characters be played by English actors and actresses doing offensive accents.
Yeah.
Makes me want to punch a fucking wall. Makes me want to punch Hadrian's Wall. There's a Scottish reference for you.
Yes.
Makes me want to knock out Big Nessie.
What's she done?
I don't know. I'm looking to take out my frustrations on something. Makes me want to kick a wee Scotty dog.
Ah.
Is Paul O'Grady Scottish? You one of our best.
Isn't Paul O'Grady... Is it?
Oh, he's dead. I'll tell you that much for free.
Right. I think it was he not Irish or something?
You're thinking of Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
No, he was English as well.
Oh,
do we have
Christ.
anybody? Is anybody really Scottish?
We had Hagrid, but he's
Robbie Coltrane.
Coltrane.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, I know.
We've got David Tennant. That's all you could ever ask for. I think if you cast David Tennant as Mrs. Bear, I think he'd do a fucking bang up job.
He'd do a cracking job, you know.
He'd get down, he'd be hunched down. I can see it now. Minimal makeup.
Yeah.
They wouldn't look. They'd put like a grey wig on him, and that'd be it.
That'd be about it. Maybe a set of glasses, and that'd be about it, like half moons. And that'd be about it.
God, I can see it now. He'd have been a good Paddington.
He would have actually been a good Paddington.
This is totally.
David Tennant's a surprisingly versatile actor. Now I think about it,
incredible.
Yeah,
this is beyond the pale. Besides the point, but I've always wanted to see him play the Joker.
Yes,
comic accurate the Joker.
Yeah. Yep. So yes, pardon Julie Walters.
Yeah.
I think when I first heard as well,
and also pardoning Paul O'Grady.
Yeah,
famous British broadcaster Paul O'Grady, for the love of the dogs or whatever he does.
Aye. So yeah, when I first heard Julie Walters with a Scottish accent, I think like yourself, my instant kind of reaction was, "Whoa, what's that?"
Yeah.
But honestly, she actually does a pretty decent Scottish accent, all things considered.
Yeah.
For someone who's, well, like we discussed, from Birmingham.
She's a Brummie.
She's a Brummie. She's...
And she's one of the country's best. I don't know why I'm coming back to that. I said it genuinely at first, and it's become a fucking vocal stem or something. But no, she is one of our best. One of the country's best.
She is. She's very, very
I'm a big fan of her role in Mamma Mia.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Who's the other one? Joanna Lumley? No, that's the parody.
No. Yeah.
That's the parody where Julie Walters' role is played by Dawn French.
Yes.
One of our best, Dawn French. David, what's that falling from the sky?
Hopefully a meteor.
My God, almost crushed me. It's a box of letters. Just ready in time for our segment, Letters in a Boxed. That's right, David, Letters in a Boxed. This is a segment in which I read off letterboxed reviews for the film we're talking about. Very
good. Very good. Fire away.
4 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Essay.
Okay, yeah.
Writes, Paddington is sad. Saddington. Paddington floods the house. Baddington. Paddington loses his mind. Maddington. Paddington starts a family. Daddington. Paddington offers to buy the next round. Absolute Laddington. Paddington, but only a bit. Just a Taddington. Paddington replaces the current actor to play Olaf in a Frozen sequel, Josh Gaddington. Paddington accidentally headbutts Emma Stone, Super Paddington. Paddington does a flip on his pastel blue penny board in downtown Cali with the sound of the ocean breeze filling his ears as the palm trees sway in the wind and trace his yin-yang wrist tattoo. Raddington. Do I regret starting this because I can't find a good place to stop? You bet your Assington. Okay, that didn't work. My Baddington.
That was pretty good.
4 stars from Andrea.
Mm-hmm.
We love the Shthal Tudpuktu. That's the Sally Hawkins takes home an anthropomorphic animal and loves them unconditionally despite public dissent cinematic universe. Obviously referencing
Into the Water?
Shape of Water.
Shape of Water.
There's also scenes in both where a bathroom gets flooded.
Yes, there is.
What?
Ooh.
4 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Lily, ? Writes, Paddington threw the first marmalade sandwich at Stonewall and his pigeons helped him. Karen H. writes, 4 stars. I love this movie, but my mom hates it because, quote, that bear is so irresponsible. Oh, I've got some negative reviews here.
Oh.
1 star.
Mm-hmm.
Maris. This movie prompted a lifestyle change in 2015 after my little brother fried me with, you dressed like Paddington Bear if Paddington moved to the city and tried to change up his style but only had a gift card to Old Navy.
Oh, man. That's no reason to rate it 1 star.
No, not at all. Liv, 1 star, writes, radioactive liberal material. Liked a review on here that points out that this is directly leveraging the UK's history with Holocaust survivors to make some kind of point about how the state's good heart is still intact, if a bit rusty, and I have to agree. Not to be a cartoon person, but it was hard not to watch this with a stone-faced expression because the cutesy aesthetic is just plainly in service of messaging about immigration that completely flies in the face of reality, with lip service to cops and the monarchy / a strange detour about an evil pickpocketer to boot. I do get the sense that Paul King believes what he's putting on the screen, but that doesn't actually change the fact that the contradictions on display are overwhelming and constant. The movie can't even make a half-decent point about colonizers without constantly referencing to Paddington's home as darkest Peru with zero irony. I don't know, folks, kids deserve movies that actually communicate some truth about the world instead of trite cutesy nonsense like this.
What the friggin' hell is this person talking about?
Liv, I'm coming to you right now as not a friend, but with goodness in my heart to tell you, you are mentally ill.
Yeah. What the hell? It's not even talking about Holocaust survivors. The people with the tags were people from London getting sent, and other large places like that, getting sent all around the country because they were trying to move them out of the cities so that if the cities got bombed, fewer children died.
Yeah.
That was it. It wasn't a bunch of Jewish people getting shipped over to Britain.
Liv, I wish this episode of our podcast was sponsored by BetterHelp so you could get some fucking therapy, but it's not. Touch grass.
Christ.
Absolutely touch grass.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
Oi. Lots of people wishing death on Paddington.
What?
The Perk 30 half a star writes, I need him dead.
Why?
Marvel Scorsese 1 star just writes British.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. This is the last one. Buddy O, 2 stars, writes 100-minute Gears of War advertisement.
What the hell?
Oh, sorry, that's a review for the film Noobs from 2012. I don't know how it got slipped in with these.
Oh, man.
I've done it again.
Yeah.
That's the end of Letters in a Box.
Very good, Connor. Some clearly quite unhinged people.
Some real... I don't know why Paddington just brings out the nuts.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
Okay, David.
Signed.
Signed?
I don't know. Signed off.
Sealed, submitted.
Done. So, Connor.
Yes, David?
I know you really like this film. Were there any points in particular that you were like, I don't actually like this?
There were certainly some moments early on, because I know that I like Paddington 2, and I will tell you right now, it is a superior film.
Mm-hmm.
But there was certainly some bits early on in this where I was like, is this going to lean too much towards having that sort of eye roll humour? You know, when you hear a joke in a film that's aimed at families and you think, dear God, I've heard that a trillion times before.
Rewritten joke, basically the same
absolute droll nonsense.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of that at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I will say there was a part that stuck out to me that I really didn't like. Where Paddington goes to go down the escalator and there's a sign that he has to have a dog. And he picks up the dog, and I think a James Brown, I Feel Good by James Brown plays. And I was like, my God, they used to put that same bit in kids' films when I was a kid. That's in one of the Garfield movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is another example of a classic character being animated and meeting real humans.
Yeah, yeah.
Garfield.
Yeah.
And that made me roll my eyes quite intensely, but no, I think overall it was good.
Yeah.
It's fairly fresh. And the second one, even more so.
Right, yeah.
I hope there is a fourth one so we have a reason to come back and
do Paddington 2.
Yeah.
I'd quite like to see that for this, and I'd quite like to get my thoughts on podcast over it.
There will not be a Paddington 4, apparently. I just googled it and it says disappointing update.
Oh, that's a shame. I'm sure we could find a reason.
Oh, sorry, it's in development, but it won't be out until probably at the earliest 2028.
Eesh. Christ almighty.
I mean, to be fair, the current one, the third one was 2024. The one before that was 2017.
That was quite a gap. Yeah.
So, you know, they take a while to make, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, we did point out about the CGI being done very, very well and with a lot of attention to detail. So
apparently the first one was in production for like 3 years as well. I think a lot of British films as well, and I think I'm going to get some flack for saying this. I'm probably wrong for saying it. I think they're bad. Like modern British films that tend to be family oriented.
I would be inclined to agree with that. I'm sure there's the odd exception here and there.
Like Paddington.
Like Paddington. And Paddington 2. However, yeah, I'd be inclined to agree. I think they have all the traits of Hallmark movies, usually, except Britishified. And that doesn't make them better.
They've also always got those annoying comedians who aren't very funny and are terrible actors in like major roles. It used to be Russell Brand before he got outed as being a rapist, but yeah, he was always in. Matt Lucas is in this, and it's thankfully a brief performance, but he's not very good.
Yeah.
And I get that he is kind of an actor, but like,
yeah,
it feels out of place. It feels very sore thumb.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. Yeah,
I think as a cameo of a comedian, he was
all right, but
it was not painful.
I'll say that like the guy, I can't remember his name, the guy from Horrible Histories who played the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
That's a great appearance.
Yeah. That's a good
one
appearance.
of my maybe the best side character in the entire film besides Peter Capaldi.
Yes.
He looks like a man that we know called John. We used to play D&D with a guy named John who looks just like Peter Capaldi.
He does. If Peter Capaldi was about half a foot taller, and he's quite a tall guy.
Yeah, he is. But no, I loved the film overall. I think it's got a good message as well. I know we were making fun of the lunatic who was saying that this was making fun of Holocaust survivors or something.
Yeah.
Trying to, whatever. But I think there is a message about immigration in this film.
Yeah.
Paddington's home is destroyed by a natural disaster.
Yeah.
And so he immigrates to the UK.
Yeah. With an out-of-date idea of the level of welcome he's going to get.
Brings elements from his home to the country.
And I think, actually, now that we had that discussion earlier on, I can kind of see more as well as to why the sort of make-believe level of or view of London did that sort of shift from the kind of like unwelcome level of London, which is kind of closer to the reality, to be fair.
Definitely.
To the sort of make-believe level of London that it is towards the end. And throughout, I would say maybe about 1/3 of the way into the movies, about there in the way.
Yeah.
It's that sort of make-believe London where it's all pretty and whatever. But I can kind of see why, because it's almost like signifying a shift of view of Paddington.
And then I'd say also as well, a shift of view of the family, the Brown family.
Yes, yeah.
All of their lives are improved. Each of them has like some sort of arc that they go through, and often the arcs intermingle with the other members of the family.
Yeah, yeah.
So the place that we find them at the end of the film is obviously much better than where they are at the beginning.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try and cover Paddington 2 this year at some point. Maybe there's a spare slot somewhere that we can just push it into.
That'd be quite nice.
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed, and that we kind of stopped the film to be like, this could be a euphemism, was the sort of, or maybe it's a...
I don't remember this. I don't remember doing this. What happened?
Where Peter Capaldi, his character, and
I do
Nicole
remember this
Kidman
now.
are having a conversation.
Throughout the film, Peter Capaldi II, he's like, there's a bear on the street, and he's like, I don't want him playing his jungle music. And I was like, oh, Christ.
Yeah.
That's almost like a very direct reference to real racial terms.
Immigration, essentially.
That's a racial term that people would use.
Mm-hmm.
And then the conversation that you were mentioning that he has with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
And then I think
like one of them moves in, and then the whole neighbourhood moves in, and then the house prices go down, and you're like, Jesus Christ, man, what are you trying to insinuate?
It's very blatant.
Yeah.
And I love the bit at the end where Peter Capaldi's like, he realises that Nicole Kidman's going to take Paddington and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, I never wanted any harm to come to the bear. I just wanted to go back to where he came from.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a clear metaphor in a children's film for people who are dumb morons whose lack of knowledge is exploited by people in power.
Yeah.
To exploit their racism through lack of information.
Yes.
To get to have their needs met.
Agendas
whatever. Enforced, basically.
Yeah.
They're very interesting and smart things to see in a Paddington movie.
Yeah, yeah.
It's maybe the highlight of the film, actually.
I like the fact that there's some strong messages in Paddington, without it seeming much more than a kid's movie.
Yeah. It's pretty overt, really.
But yeah, that was not something I expected to be seeing in Paddington.
Yeah, but it makes sense as well. It totally fits with the narrative.
Yeah.
I think it's what takes Paddington from being just a good comedy and a good family film up a notch.
Yeah.
Above and beyond.
And in a very unfortunate way, it's the most British experience of the film. And it's really not nice to admit.
It's the one thing about the film that feels genuinely British and not Union Jack, Red Bus,
tourist,
double-decker tourist, Big Ben.
Yeah, and it's a crying shame that is the most realistic part of the film.
Yeah,
is the fact that as a foreign national, you are gonna find people like Peter Capaldi's character racially hating you for just not being
just that like xenophobia.
Yeah, aye.
Jesus, yeah. But also the reality of bears wearing hats.
Yes.
You forgot about that.
I forgot about that aspect as well. Yeah.
Look at the poster, boy.
Jesus,
he's right there.
Christ.
Okay, David, it's time for rigatoni ranking.
Oh, here we go. Right. Okay.
This is the segment in this show where we rank, or we update our ranking of every film we've covered on Movie House so far. This is the 10th episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did put Lord of the Rings out, so this is the 10th episode.
Yeah.
Alright, so my 9 so far, from first to last, is It's a Wonderful Life, Beetlejuice, The Wizard of Oz, Gladiator, The Wolfman, Terrifier, AVP, The Lord of the Rings 1978, Joker 2019.
Yeah.
And Paddington, for me, in 5th place.
The new fifth.
The new 5th. So it's behind Gladiator, but it is in front of The Wolfman.
Right. Yes. Okay.
What's your ranking, David?
Okay, so It's a Wonderful Life in first place, Gladiator, Beetlejuice, The Wizard of Oz, The Wolfman, Terrifier, The Lord of the Rings, AVP, and obviously Joker
in last place. Yeah.
For me, Paddington slips in
the
new 4th place for me.
Above The Wizard of Oz?
Above The Wizard of Oz, below Beetlejuice.
Wow.
Which I would also like to point out means in 10th place is Joker 2019.
Yeah, I should point out in 10th place for me is Joker 2019. That means that Paddington is higher on your ranking than it is on mine, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I was not far off putting it in 4th on mine. It was really... I couldn't quite push it past Gladiator because Gladiator is such a good film.
It is.
It's a crying shame.
Well, mine's, for me,
it's above The Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
It was above The Wizard of Oz. It was The Wizard of Oz. I was really trying to... Whether or not I was fighting with that, and quite frankly, I had a lot more nostalgia over Paddington than I did over The Wizard of Oz.
See, I think I'm the other way around. I would never have put it above The Wizard of Oz. That wasn't happening.
Well, your Wizard of Oz is higher in your overall
3rd.
ranking than mine. Mine's was 4th. So, but yes, it was battling The Wizard of Oz. It was a very close call, I would say.
Yeah.
But I had, like I said, I had about 20 odd Paddington short books, small books.
Yeah, of course. I definitely read a few, but I can't remember which ones or what they were, or if I owned them or rented them from a library or something like that.
Yeah. I remember renting a few that I didn't own from the library in the same series.
Yeah.
And trying to hunt down all the other ones because, it was like Ladybird-esque books where it was like you had all the other ones on the inside cover or on the back and things, showing you what ones you didn't own.
Wow.
This has been Movie House. I've been your host, David, and with me, as always, has been my co-host, Connor.
That's been me.
And next time, Connor.
Next time we'll be talking about the early MCU entry, Captain America, the First Avenger from 2011.
Oh.
We're doing that to ride the Algorithmic Express for Captain America 4, Brave New World.
God, I forgot that was even coming out.
That's why we're doing that one. Unless we drop it for Paddington 2.
Nah. Keep in Captain America.
Yeah.
I like Captain America, the First Avenger. I also like the second one, Winter Soldier. But
we'll talk about that if they ever do Captain America 5.
I don't know if that's happening. Or we can always do that for Winter Soldier for any other MCU. Anything.
They're always talking about how this is the next Winter Soldier. This is the Winter Soldier of Hulk stories.
Yeah.
Bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, all that pish. And we can work with that.
We'll talk about that a lot. Next episode, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Instagram at Movie House Podcast, or on Twitter and Instagram at T422. Check out our YouTube channel, T422 Productions, where you can find this show in a video version, as well as our other podcast, Insert Brain Here, where we talk about the hit animated family sitcom The Simpsons.
Episode by episode.
Episode by episode, product by product. You can also check out our website for that, insertbrainhere.podcastpage.io, or its Instagram page, insertbrainherepod.
That's the one.
That's all from us. Tatty bye. T for 22 Productions, honey boy.